Saint Basil the Great was born in 329 in Caesarea of Cappadocia. His family was distinguished for its holiness and adorned the church with a succession of saints. His grandparents had confessed their faith during the persecution of Maximinus and had taken refuge in the mountains of Pontus, where they lived for approximately 7 years. His parents, Saint Basil the Elder and Saint Emilia, became renowned for their virtues and their care for the poor. They raised their 10 children on the path of holiness. His sister, Saint Macrina the philosopher, was a true spiritual guide for the family. She encouraged her mother and siblings toward the monastic life. The saint spent his childhood in Neo-Caesarea of Pontus. There he received the first seeds of the Orthodox faith from his mother and grandmother, Saint Macrina the Elder. Under the guidance of his father, a renowned teacher of rhetoric, he progressed quickly in secular knowledge. After his father's death, he continued his studies at the greatest cultural centers of the era. He went to Caesarea of Palestine, to Constantinople, and finally to Athens. There, he formed a deep friendship with Gregory the theologian. The two of them shared everything in common and nurtured an insatiable thirst for knowledge and wisdom. Basil excelled in all sciences: philosophy, grammar, logic, and rhetoric. He acquired such prestige that his fellow students wanted to keep him as their teacher. However, he left Athens and returned to his birthplace in 356. He found his mother and sister had converted the family residence into a monastery. The fervent exhortations of Macrina and the deep study of the gospel made him realize how futile it was to pursue secular wisdom. He abandoned his career as a teacher of rhetoric and was baptized. He decided to find a spiritual father to guide him on the path of asceticism. He undertook a great journey to the renowned centers of true philosophy. He visited Egypt, Palestine, Syria, and Mesopotamia. There he admired the ascetic feats and divine virtues of famous ascetics. Like a bee, he gathered the best he found from each one. In a short time, he acquired deep knowledge of the ascetic art. He found a deserted hill on the other bank of the Iris River, opposite the family monastery of Annecy. There he managed to persuade Gregory as well, and they lived together ascetically with manual labor, study of scripture, and prayer. Basil renounced all his possessions to live in poverty. His only treasure was the cross, which he embraced with his whole life. After 1 year, Basil remained alone and radiated wisdom and virtue throughout the region. Many people came to visit him: monks, lay people, even children. As more and more people decided to embrace this angelic way of life, Basil began to compose his famous rules. These are considered the founding charter of monasticism in both East and West. He insisted on the cenobitic life under the guidance of a single elder. He emphasized the need for the monk to completely divest himself of possessions and all self-will. In 360, he was ordained deacon by Bishop Dianius. He participated in the Ecumenical Council of Constantinople. There he observed with great sorrow how the endless disputes between Arians and Orthodox were tearing apart the Church of Christ. In 363, he was ordained priest by the new bishop of Caesarea, Eusebius. The threat to orthodoxy due to the accession of Emperor Valens to the throne made Basil abandon his monastic family once again. He reconciled with Eusebius and undertook the education of the people of Caesarea. With unparalleled eloquence, he taught them to admire the wisdom of God within creation. During the terrible famine that struck the city in 367, he acted with remarkable philanthropy. He distributed his last possessions and with his irresistible eloquence made the cellars of the rich open. Thousands of people were saved from certain death. Their gratitude was evident from the enthusiasm with which Basil's election as Metropolitan of Caesarea was greeted in 370. As soon as he was enthroned, he began the struggle to establish the faith and restore order among the clergy. The emperor sent the prefect Modestus to subdue the fearless hierarch. Modestus threatened him with confiscation of property, exile, torture, and death. The saint replied that none of these things affected him. He declared that he would welcome death as a blessing because it would bring him closer to God more quickly. The prefect, disarmed, confessed that he had never heard such words. Later, he was healed from an illness through Basil's prayers and became his friend and admirer. Emperor Valens was so impressed by the saint's majesty during the Feast of Theophany that he hastened to bring his offering along with the faithful. When he went to sign the order for the bishop's exile, the pen broke 3 times. Terrified by these signs of God's favor, he ceased to trouble the saint. Basil built outside Caesarea an enormous philanthropic institution that was later named the Basiliad. Ecumenical teacher, luminary of the Orthodox faith, and father of monasticism, Saint Basil was the perfect model of a bishop. As a man, however, he knew nothing but failures, slanders, and every kind of sorrow. Just 1 year before his repose, Valens died during the campaign against the Goths. He was succeeded on the imperial throne by the pious Theodosius, who began to persecute the Arians and restore the Orthodox bishops. With a body worn down by illness and deprivations, the saint surrendered his soul to God on the 1st of January, 379. He was not deemed worthy to see the crowning achievement of his works at the Second Ecumenical Council in Constantinople. His funeral was attended by all the people and demonstrated his triumph. In accordance with the name he bore, Saint Basil now holds a royal position in the court of the Holy Fathers, near the throne of the Heavenly King.